Tonight's event is the president of Luntz Global, pollster Frank Luntz, and Fox News contributor, Democratic strategist Joe Trippi. Well, if one thing certainly came out of tonight, I think there's no doubt in the media, we're in the media room right now, they're probably going to be happy, is that Republicans, well, for the first time started to take the gloves off against each other tonight. Is that good or bad for the process?
It's a challenge, but you knew that it had to happen. I thought that Newt Gingrich won the battle. I think Mitt Romney won the war. I think Tim Pawlenty, the funniest line of the evening.
Right.
But his battle back and forth between him and Michelle Bachmann hurt him, challenged him. Some of the language tonight was very powerful. When Mitt Romney gave his 7 specific ideas, that's what the Republican electorate's looking for.
Right, let's go over this. So you think Newt Gingrich won the battle, meaning?
He took on the media tonight, which is something that everyone watching this debate said, hooray, go for it. I was in the room for the first 2/3 of it. That got the greatest applause of any line this evening. Yeah. He also took on that super commission, the super committee in Congress. Newt was the attack dog, and he did it in the way that the public would have said, go for it. But Mitt Romney sounded presidential. No one laid a glove on him. The challenges on him were not significant. And look, Tim Pawlenty, he had a funny line, but that battle between him and Michelle Bachmann.
What did you think about that battle between them?
He did not come across as effective. And in the room itself, she held her ground by standing for principle, and he looked more like he was just attacking for politics.
Does that come off as desperate?
It comes off as someone who isn't focused, as someone who really should have prepared much better for this debate, as someone who does dials. That language is not effective.
All right, we'll be dialing this, by the way, in the coming days. What your initial impressions, and we're also going to get to the fact there was a lot of attacks against the president tonight.
I was surprised. I thought Newt Gingrich really did well for himself tonight. And he came in clearly with the orchestra. He wanted to take that attack on the press. He was looking for it. He had that line ready to go. Much like, Bob Beckel created those kind of lines for Walter Mondale. Like, where's the beef? I mean, we knew going in when I worked for the vice president
that's
what we were trying to do.
You know what I thought? I thought this was like Reagan saying, I paid for this microphone.
That's exactly right.
That was one of those moments.
There's these choreographed moments, and Newt had one. And he had plenty of them, and he did it in a way, I agree with Frank, did it in a way that I think really helped him. I think Romney helped himself as well, and I agree. I think those are the two that scored the best. But Pawlenty, I think, really just did massive damage to himself. It reminded me a lot of when Dick Gephardt went after Howard Dean in a lot of the Iowa debates in 2004 when I was doing the Dean campaign. It was like Gephardt was on a murder-suicide mission, and that's what.
And yet
with Pawlenty, that's what he did. I just think he did a lot of damage. I was one of the people who thought he was going to be the guy that Democrats should be more afraid of. And after tonight, man, I really
had the best line of the evening. When he said, if you can find Barack Obama's plan, I'll come and cook you dinner. Then for Romney, he says, I'll mow your lawn, but only
1 acre. That was a good line.
Absolutely brilliant.
That was all right. How does this change the dynamic? We've looked at the polls coming into this race. Obviously, Romney is the front runner. You're saying he will remain the front runner based on your analysis? He
will remain the front runner, and in fact, he may even increase. Michelle Bachmann's clearly in second place. But now the question is, what does Rick Perry do? And based on what I saw today, Rick Perry comes in and replaces the other 2 governors, Huntsman and Pawlenty. So that's what we're going to be watching for when he appears at the Fox debate in September.
What happens to Newt if he won the battle tonight? Does this now shift his dynamic, or do you think?
He answered the question when they said, why did your campaign? You lost half your campaign. He says,
wait a minute. That was a great answer.
Reagan lost his campaign. McCain lost his campaign.
Just before New Hampshire. Right.
I mean, these guys, we've seen election after election cycle where the front runner has a major shift. The challenge for Gingrich is, can you get people to like you, not just agree with you? Can you get people to say that these aren't just great ideas? This is going to be a great president.
Let me ask this, though. When he's being forceful, for example, there's been a lot of talk about Governor Christie and Christie taking on the media and being aggressive and taking on unions and fighting for people. Isn't that the reason he's popular? Doesn't that seem to be the mood of the country right now, that passion and taking it to people?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what he played into. But I think, look, before tonight, he was becoming irrelevant. I mean, I can't remember the last time he was really talking about Newt Gingrich in any of these events. And tonight he made himself relevant again. Now the question is, what can he do with that? Can he get back into the game? But I think tonight was a big step for him.
I don't want to forget he used history. He used history. He gave specific analysis of the 1970s and 1980s more than any other candidate. And he called this new super committee a dumb idea. So not only was he intellectual, he also spoke with a plain tone. I think people at home were cheering him on.
All right, what's fascinating, too, is all of the candidates, I think rightly so, Joe, you're probably going to disagree with me on this point, they went after the downgrade. They went after Barack Obama. And when Newt was saying, I want more substance on why we all agree that Barack Obama should be gone. Congress should come back into session next week. The president shouldn't go on vacation. All of these things during a time of crisis. Is there something Barack Obama can learn from this?
Yeah. I mean, look, all the attacks are being telegraphed. They're going to go to school on this right now and start and push back hard. But look, the field itself, this was a much better debate. They're getting stronger. These debates are good for them.
I agree with you.
And the only one I thought we had the weaker debate, his weakest debate was Pawlenty. I think everybody else, got
let's
stronger.
Talk about Rick Santorum. Didn't get a lot of time in the beginning. I thought he was kind of shut out. He got a little bit more time at the end. Rick Santorum, let's talk about Herman Cain, Ron Paul, and these other candidates. Ron Paul had a lot of good applause lines there, as did Herman Cain. And
how about Herman Cain's great line that America's got to learn to take a joke?
That was a great line.
Yeah,
that was a good line. I like that a lot.
And the more that he does that, the less political he seems, and the more real and businesslike he seems. But he didn't get enough of a chance to talk in terms of business, and I think he should have focused more on his experience. In terms of Rick Santorum, when he challenged Michelle Bachmann out of principle, that's when it becomes powerful. And I give Michelle credit, the Congresswoman, because she focused on fighting. And believe me, this Iowa caucus they want someone to fight for them and to fight against Obama.
Who came out on top in these battles between Pawlenty and Bachmann, Santorum and Bachmann? Who do you think came out on top?
I'm not clear on Bachmann. I've been in that situation where you're Howard Dean or you're Bachmann and someone's attacking on this murder-suicide thing. And the problem is, even when you're just trying to get the guy's hands off of you, just try to pull him, it looks like you like the murder-suicide, you're in on it. And I'd be a little bit worried that the number of attacks that she's been taking on from everybody is going to hurt her over time. But I think
real quick, we got to run. Last word. Quick.
I think that she won that differential because it makes her into someone. She's now survived the challenge. She's taken on the establishment. And she has her own niche, and it's a very powerful niche.
All right, it's going to be fascinating. As a matter of fact, I see Michelle Bachmann right there. And guys, thanks for being with us.